Neanderthal robots, impenetrable plot, and some sweet beats on this episode of
WatchBots!
Hi, everyone. Welcome to WatchBots, the podcast about old kiddie shows and doomsday prepping. This is Ben, joined this episode by Dave.
Roll out, Ben.
Roll up and out. And Shaylin.
Hello.
Hello. How are you both doing?
I'm super. Got a cat in my lap. Hanging out. Ready to talk about this rad cartoon.
Cool.
No cats over here because I'm a goddamn professional, but I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Professional. That's the
Sure, yeah.
That's the descriptor. Guys, it's so cold out there. I fear that we're going to run into an alive scenario.
I am not afraid of that.
Really?
Yep.
Did you ever see that movie?
No, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yes, I have. Have you?
No. So Alive is one of those movies. There's a whole bunch of them I can think of where like the commercials would be on constantly and you would see the newspaper advertisements and stuff, but I never saw it. I can list probably a half dozen movies like that from the 90s.
What's another one?
Jennifer 8.
Oh, I don't even know what that one is.
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
I think it was a serial killer movie.
Okay.
Lorenzo's Oil was another one, but then I ended up seeing Lorenzo's Oil.
I've never seen it, but I know that for a really long time I thought it was a person's name. It was Lorenzo Zoil.
You didn't think that.
I didn't know what the movie was
true.
about. It is true.
Jesus, you didn't think that.
I didn't pay that much attention.
You're rethinking your co-host now, aren't you, Ben?
Wow, that's interesting. I
Okay.
can say that.
I mean, it was for like a few weeks. It wasn't like 100 years. I thought that. I just didn't really actually pay attention to the commercial until they went, Lorenzo Zoil.
100 years of Lorenzo Zoil.
He was a good man, I heard.
I don't think he lived to manhood.
I didn't see the movie.
Yeah. Well, the end is it Susan Sarandon, Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's applying oil to a young boy, and he stops writhing around. He has some kind of degenerative disease.
That sounds terribly sad.
But
That's
it's not.
probably why I've never seen it.
Yeah. Doesn't end well for old Lorenzo Z.
You know what movie that is for me though, like the posters and the commercials, never saw it though, is The Edge with Alec Baldwin and Anthony Hopkins.
Do they fight a bear?
They do. Well,
Okay.
according to the movie poster, they do. But yeah, never saw the movie.
I don't even think I saw the movie poster, so you're a step ahead of me.
Oh, there you go.
What's that movie where Liam Neeson is fighting wolves? Is that the same kind of movie?
That's
The Grey.
The Grey. Yeah, I think it is. Like, it's just man against nature. Yeah.
I couldn't decide if that was a movie that I was really fiercely interested in or that I just had no patience for at all.
What? The Grey?
The Grey.
I think I saw it. He makes like a knife glove or something. Not
Yeah.
like a Freddy Krueger knife glove, but
Oh.
something kind of similar.
What I pictured in my head was exactly Freddy Krueger's glove when you said knife glove.
Do you
Yeah.
think?
Well, of
do you
course.
think? Do you think The Grey and The Edge are shared universe?
Yes.
Probably.
Absolutely.
Probably. And as a man with a gray personality who lives on the edge constantly, I feel best equipped.
I think those movies speak to you.
They sure do. I also love The Wild. So anyway, it's cold.
Agreed.
God damn it. Mea culpa of the week. And we struggled a little bit this week because we were so fucking clean on My Pet Monster. Probably because nothing happened. But then I thought of something that wasn't maybe a mistake per se, but it was something that I think we need to address. So we spent a decent amount of time last week talking about Michael Jackson. And of course, in the 3 days between when we record and when these things go live, some pretty gross news about Michael Jackson came out. And I just want to let the listeners know that I support Michael Jackson garb in music, or I did as a kid, but not the actions of the man. I just want it to be clear.
What was the news that came out? I haven't heard about this.
I didn't either.
Oh, I don't want to talk about this.
Oh, okay.
Fine, I will. All right. So there's a new documentary. I think it came out at Sundance. It's called Finding Neverland. And I can't remember if it's the same kid with all of the allegations from the early 90s.
Yeah.
But it's either that kid or another one. And it gets pretty gruesome. Yeah.
That's
Bummer.
gross.
Yeah. Well, I guess the mea culpa was me bringing this up at all.
On next week's episode of WatchBots, listen to Ben give a mea culpa about bringing up Michael Jackson once again.
Maybe we should do that interview that Michael Jackson did with Oprah. You remember the primetime one? And they were at Neverland and he was doing the moonwalk and stuff.
Yes.
I remember it happened, but
Yeah.
I didn't watch it.
Yeah. You were too busy watching Lorenzo Zoil.
No, I was probably reading a book about an American Girl doll.
Great.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Great. So anyway, on to this week. And we are talking about a really integral cartoon. And that's Transformers. And Shaylin, you picked this one. And let's talk about the actual episode in a little bit. But what about Transformers called to you?
It's robots fighting fucking robots, and it's awesome. Everyone knows the Transformers. People who aren't stupid love the Transformers. Maybe even stupid people. It's hard to say. But yeah, it's a great, iconic cartoon. It's fantastic. Even the bad episodes are great.
We'll see about that.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that.
Yeah.
That last part there.
Yeah, I mean, the cartoon aired from 84 to early 87. So for us, I mean, really, really young, but it played in reruns forever and ever. And there were so many incarnations of it, plus the toys. I mean, the toys are what I remember. I had an Optimus and probably others. I think I had a bunch of the little ones, but God damn it, Transformers they're cool.
Yeah, we had, I mean, it was definitely my brother's toy, not mine. It was one of the ones that you just folded in half. So it was like a robot or it was like a truck with a drill bit on it. There was 2 drill bits, one on each side. And I carried that thing around with me. I brought it to school with me for like years. And it was like a vintage toy by then, probably because my brother's older than me. Like the kids that I played with at school didn't have those toys because they didn't have older brothers that had the cool toys.
Yeah.
So it sort of aided in friendships, I would say, around like 1st and 2nd grade.
Dave, Transformers?
I didn't have... I had some Transformers, but I think I sort of missed the boat on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had a couple of them. I couldn't tell you which ones. They may have even been like cheap knockoffs, but yeah, I never had them. But I remember liking it. I had, when I watched this episode, I had the same feeling I had when I watched the G.I. Joe episode for our first episode, where it was like, I remember a lot about the Transformers, but I do not remember watching the show at all. But it was, I think Transformers is just so ubiquitous back then for kids anyway. Like,
yeah,
it's kind of hard not to know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Shaylin looked like she had something to say, but
I didn't.
no. Okay. The episode we watched was Call of the Primitives, which is season 3, episode 26. And this is pretty close to the end of Generation 1 Transformers. So they would come back Generation 2 and Beast Wars and all that. But this was pretty close. There were only 5 or so episodes after this. And I mean, we'll get into it, but you can kind of feel it. Transformers is one of those shows that has that toyetic feel. Have you guys heard toyetic? I'm not trying to sound super smart. It's just an interesting...
No.
Okay.
Isn't it? I mean, I've heard the word and I think I have context, but you should explain it better than me.
Yeah. So it exists to sell toys,
Okay,
right?
so yes,
so
it is.
it's sort
Okay,
of
yeah.
like a virtuous circle of marketing. And, this episode took place after Transformers the movie, which killed off Optimus Prime and Megatron and Starscream and a lot of the old classics. So you're seeing kind of the new line of toys because you can only sell Optimus Prime for so long. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
And it's horrible. Like, it's capitalism at its absolute worst. On the other hand, it made for kick-ass toys.
So I guess, and I haven't actually done the research on this officially, so next week for the mea culpa on this. But there was legislation passed because of Transformers and G.I. Joe that you had to have some sort of moral at the end of the cartoon or embedded somewhere. Otherwise, it was basically just exploiting children.
And when was that passed?
I need to look that up.
Okay.
This was something I was just talking to my brother about it yesterday, and I didn't have a chance to look at it today because I worked. But
you had a day.
Not to get
less than
too much
24
into
hours, guys.
not to get too much into the episode, but I don't know. I can't pull a moral out of this one. So
No, I think
maybe
the legislation got passed after this.
The moral
Okay.
the moral is buy toys.
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
If you don't buy toys, then an energy monster will steal everything from your planet.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, we'll
get there.
we're not talking about the episode yet.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
As a sneak peek.
So this episode was written by Donald F. Glut, which is an amazing name. Now, Donald F. Glut has been pretty prolific, but in really weird stuff. So he wrote the novelization for The Empire Strikes Back,
Which has never gone out of print since he wrote it.
Sure.
Which is
It's-
amazing.
It's a classic. He also wrote the first ever recorded Spider-Man fan film. And interestingly, he also wrote some of the early Masters of the Universe comics and some of the backstory. And then he tried to sue Mattel for ownership of the Masters of the Universe line. And then they countersued and won. So, interesting.
I mean, I guess if someone contracts you to do work and they say they own it, it's hard to say that you own it. It makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, we can get into ownership law. That's another podcast, though.
Yeah.
On the Watchbots network. Anyway, season 3 of Transformers also had a really healthy dose of our original friend Flint Dille. He wrote 5 or 6 episodes.
Yeah,
So
Flint Dille.
I think that kind of prepares you for the mess we're about to walk into.
Oh yeah, his fingerprints are all over this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? Let's talk about a few more cultural fingerprints. You want to know what you're seeing, you want contextual feeling. Contextual feeling. Makes you feel so smart. Helps to understand the art. You want that contextual feeling. I can be pretty shameless for the podcast. I'll sing and do a lot of things. Listening to that in live time makes me cringe every single fucking time. So, contextual feeling. This episode aired on November 18th, 1986. We must have done another episode around the same time period because the number 1 movie was Crocodile Dundee.
Okay, yeah.
I don't have any other good Crocodile Dundee jokes.
Just sexy Linda Kozlowski jokes.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we hit that one.
Yeah.
We can get into Crocodile Hunter, but maybe that's a story for another day.
R.I.P.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rest in power.
as always.
Yeah.
Number 2 movie, The Color of Money, which is a weird movie.
I remember that title, but that's as far as my memory goes there.
Okay, it's Tom Cruise in one of his earlier starring roles with Paul Newman, and they're pool sharks.
Yep. Yep.
You know what I mean? It's a little odd.
And in the same universe, 2 years later, he started mixing drinks in the movie Cocktail.
Yeah, he played some seedy characters for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Number 3, Soul Man. So, Soul Man, of course, is the story of C. Thomas Howell putting on blackface to get into college. And Shaylin, I know this is a topic near and dear to your heart as a very woke person.
In a big C. Thomas Howell fan.
If you'll remember our
Wow.
yeah, if you'll remember our special where we talked about White Christmas.
Yes, I'm opposed to blackface.
Okay.
I don't know that makes me super woke. I think that just makes me a decent human being.
Hashtag woke. Now, interesting thing about Soul Man, because of course, like I went down the rabbit hole with this movie, is I guess there were two things. Number one, Ronald Reagan was the president at the time, and it was a big deal that his son Ron Reagan had a cameo in this movie. Like, it's just funny.
His son's name is Ron Reagan.
Yeah. Yeah, like, can you imagine, like, Baron Trump being in one of the new, like, Adam Sandler Netflix movies or something? It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Ronald Reagan himself was an actor, so why is that weird?
Because he was the active president at the time.
I don't know. Like,
it's weird.
I'm just tickled by the name Ron Reagan.
Sure. Yeah,
That's getting me.
Yeah, he's a little more hip.
Yeah.
So Ron Reagan is actually, I guess, like a really big liberal, and he does political commentary and stuff. So I guess, I don't know, that he's going by Ron is maybe not that weird for the image he's trying to portray.
Okay.
But this was 1986, so maybe he just was younger. Well, he was younger. That's how aging works. You age over time.
Thank you, Ben.
time is a flat
So helpful.
circle.
I also want to read a quote, and I think this is pretty poignant, and this is from C. Thomas Howell about Soul Man. A white man donning blackface is taboo. Conversation over. You can't win, but our intentions were pure. We wanted to make a funny movie that had a message about racism. So, I mean, they failed.
Yeah, it didn't work out so well.
Did
See,
not take.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I think they should try to reboot this movie. I think it'd be very well received.
I'm sure
this,
that would
this
go
day
over
and age.
really well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like there's better content, guys.
There's actually not, since we just remake everything now. But
Yeah. I don't
Anyway.
know.
so top music, Human by the Human League was number one. I couldn't tell you what that song sounds like.
Nope.
Number two, Amanda by Boston.
Oh,
Mm.
Ah,
yeah.
Lost my virginity to that song.
cool.
No, that's not true at all.
For me, it was the Transformers theme, so it all comes full circle.
I'm real
Awesome.
uncomfortable, guys.
There it is. And number three was True Blue by Madonna. And TV, again, we'll skip around TV because it's the Cosby Show. And
Womp womp.
yeah, not cool. But big toy from 1986 was Laser Tag, like the take-home version that you saw.
Oh.
You saw it in big.
Oh,
Yep.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
We should get laser tag and do this on a Saturday, guys.
So this is something I've thought about for probably 30 years at this point, is I always remember seeing like that laser tag set and sort of similar things. And when I was a kid, like plotting out my neighborhood and thinking about these huge elaborate games of laser tag.
Yes.
Now, there were two problems with this. Number one was I didn't have the game.
Uh-huh.
Number two was I didn't really have a lot of like local friends. So I was just, I'm drawing these like really elaborate maps with landmarks and stuff that were being shown to nobody.
Well,
I did the same thing. I had one friend and would just constantly figure out like how can we get like these 4 blocks mapped out and have this giant laser tag match with my one friend. Yeah, it's sad. I know what you're doing, Ben. I know what you're feeling.
Yeah.
when I was a senior in high school, we had a lock-in. So everybody
Sure.
we stayed up until like ungodly hours and then slept in the library. And one of the activities for the lock-in was the middle school gym with a bunch of cardboard boxes stacked up and laser tag. And that was, honest to God, the most fun I probably had in high school. It was awesome. We also got to rollerblade in the hallways, so that was cool.
Sounds like you had a really good time.
It took me from big until senior year of high school to make that dream come true. But I made it happen.
Big as a time period now.
Yes.
Okay. So that's contextual feeling. And now we're prepared to dive in. And I have a problem. And that is that this episode of Transformers was completely impenetrable. And it required so much research to do like the bare minimum of guiding this along that I am 100% sure that Shaylin resents me for some reason to do this.
Why do I resent you?
Because you know how like anal retentive I get about putting notes together. And there are literally 45 characters in this episode. And I didn't research all of them, to be fair. But like to try to note down in some kind of narrative what the fuck was happening here. This was, I still don't know what was happening. I've watched this episode 4 times now.
Do you want me to step in and summarize for you?
No, that's my job.
It's not impenetrable.
It's impenetrable.
Well, this is an expert troll job, if this is true, Shaylin. Yeah. Good for you.
So we're going to try to stick to the format. We're gonna go through the episode. We may have to take a lot of diversions because this is crazy. But I will say I got a lot of information on this episode from tfwiki.net. So that's a little shout out. And it's like Wikipedia for Transformers, but it's really sardonically written. Like there's like these little editorializings and stuff. So I enjoyed that. But anyway, so because we're in the late run for original Transformers, we get the remix version of the theme. It's not quite the original, but it is super fucking funky. Let's listen to it. 32 seconds, and it really gets you jazzed.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It gets you where you're going.
Is that the tightest intro we've had so far?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think so, by probably about 28 seconds.
Easily, yeah.
Yeah. It's cool because I think, say what you will about the content of this episode, and I did come around on it, honestly, but like, it looks awesome. It looks really high quality. The music, that I'll play some more music later, but it's just, that part is really, really tight.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So we open up with a monologue of who I assumed was Megatron, because it kind of sounded like Megatron. It's in fact Primacron. So let me play some of his intro, and then I can paint you all a little picture.
Now you are but a single atom. Soon you shall be much more, much more. Begin with the flame. Now, Tornatron, grow on Energon.
So what you see is the best part of this. It looks like one of those old like sex ed films because it looks like impregnation, like a sperm going into an egg, and then there's like these big bursts of color. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did you guys? Okay, tell me you guys saw that because I don't want to paint myself as some kind of like pervert, but
no, I can see where you're going with that. Yeah,
I bet
It's
you
a little late for that this deep into our run, but
That's true.
but I see what you're saying. Yeah.
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 And I was reminded of one time like 10 years ago, and you guys will remember this, but our friend Sean, I was getting into video editing, so I decided to try to make him like a dating video. And the whole thing was like this like free production music overlaid images like that. So like flowers blooming and like hot dogs on a conveyor belt. And when I saw this, I had really fond memories of that. Yeah.
So then it's nostalgic, but not the nostalgia you were expecting.
Yeah. Weird sense memories.
different levels of
Yeah.
nostalgia.
Yeah. So this is Primacron, and we see him later. He's a little monkey guy, and he is some kind of ancient scientist who makes things. So like he made Unicron, who was the bad robot from the Transformers movie, who was Orson Welles.
Yes.
And that didn't work out for him. So now he's made Tornadron, who has the goal of siphoning energy and is like a cloud spider thing.
He's going to succeed where the other failed.
Right. It's almost like they didn't have the rights to say Unicron.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Primacron also is not a Transformer?
No.
No. Okay.
No, he's not.
He's a different kind of alien.
This
He's
is-
supposed to be more ancient.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll get into this when we talk about the primitives. This is where I was getting confused as to like who's creating what and what things are supposed to be.
Exactly. Yeah. The I thought it was just the Transformers series was mainly Autobots, Decepticons, things from Cybertron, and humans on Earth. Like I didn't know it expanded even beyond that.
Yeah.
Also, when they introduced Primacron, they've got like the Inspector Gadget, Dr. Claw thing going, where you just see his hand controlling a computer. But then
he actually has almost the same silhouette.
Yes, exactly. I was expecting a giant fuzzy cat to be in his lap, much like you, Shaylin. But yeah, he also looks like. Either of you saw the movie Mac and Me?
I've seen parts of it through like Paul Rudd. Like, why did I say it like that? Close personal friend Paul Rudd. For when he goes on Conan. But no, I haven't seen the whole movie.
Primacron looks like Mac from Mac and Me. It's just like a poorly animated, realized alien. Yeah, these are the things I thought.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to just interject really quick because I feel like it's important for this particular episode. This specific episode of Transformers, it's probably one that I remember best from my childhood, weirdly. And so as we were watching it, I was like, oh yeah, and then this thing's going to happen. Then this guy's going to say this other thing. And so if I get defensive, I just want to apologize to everyone in advance.
Okay. You get defensive?
I'm just throwing it out there. As you're talking about Primacron, I'm like, yeah, he invented the universe, guys. Why is this so hard?
So I think that's fair. But what I will point out before I kick us ahead a little bit is just because you remember it doesn't mean it makes a lick of sense.
I think I just have, like, it's drilled into my brain in a way that, I have an understanding of it. Do you know what I mean?
It's very spiritual.
No, like, if you watch a movie enough times, you watch a TV show enough times, you're like, oh, because that connects back to this thing, and that other thing is over there, so...
Worship at the altar of Transformers. Yeah.
Specifically, Primacron.
Strange. So we see the Autobots and we see the Decepticons, and they're fighting somewhere. It's not Earth. I think it's the moon.
It is indeed the moon.
Yeah.
Can confirm.
This is one of those weird episodes where they took it off Earth, so there's no human element whatsoever. You know, it's just the robots talking to each other. And this is the B team. So you have like Hot Rod, who is he's Rodimus Prime. You have Blaster. You have Soundwave. You have not Starscream, who I can't fucking remember what his name is.
Galvatron?
No, that was like evolved Megatron in the movie. I can't remember. He was...
Didn't Starscream die?
Yeah, so he died, but there was another plane who was in the Bumblebee movie. It doesn't matter. I don't want to get lost in this rabbit hole, but they're fighting, and the Autobots are in a little bit of trouble. I just like that line, go in for the kill. Like, it's very violent for this kind of show, but Transformers has something that we haven't seen in a while, and that's a good number of fake deaths, right? So you have the named Autobots and the named Decepticons and then the cannon fodder guys.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
The red shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I bet there were toys for a lot of those too, but whatever. I think that's interesting.
Did you count the cartoon deaths?
I only saw one, unless you're counting all of like the energy whiteout things, which I did not, because most of those didn't actually count.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like Avengers thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm sure I'll watch this episode again and revise the count, but only one that I could see.
Please do. I want an accurate count.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Hot Rod, who is Rodimus Prime, is the leader, and he's got some banter, and he's got some really good military strategy.
Let's do what they don't expect! Counterattack!
Yeah.
They're not expecting us to counterattack.
Yeah.
They'll never think that us in this fight will attack them. Yeah. There's no way.
They're so outnumbered. They're expecting surrender, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it's a little confusing.
Yeah.
So, you'll be surprised to hear. I want to do a couple of quick non sequiturs here, just kind of going in chronological order. So, what I do remember about Transformers vividly is the transitions. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? This one with like the symbols fading back and forth. That shit always ruled.
So sweet.
Yeah. Good stuff. And I mentioned the music too, and I just want to play one more clip of it. Maybe I'll play it as we go here just to keep us motivated. It's good. It sounds like one of those Neo Geo fighting games, like King of Fighters, or one of those ones you'd see in the arcade.
Oh yeah. Virtua Fighter or something. Yeah.
It just psychs me up. Like if I were a child watching this, I'd be like up off the couch, like dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were moments in this episode, rare moments because this show was so busy, but there were moments where like things weren't happening or exciting things weren't going on screen, and they were playing this music. I was like, they're just making it. They're milking this for everything they got. Yeah,
for sure.
But I will listen to that all day long, so they can do whatever they want with it.
I dig it.
Mm-hmm.
So on the Autobot side, there's like their version of Soundwave, who I think is named Blaster, and he has his own cassettes. And like I talked about Toyetic, and I think that's kind of the best example of it. Like, oh, we have Soundwave. We need good Soundwave. You know what I mean?
I think it was Soundwave.
No, because Soundwave was a Decepticon. The Autobots had their own Soundwave.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. But, I mean, you know he's good because he has some hip banter for us.
Hey, something's happened to me too, and it's not on the top 40.
Cool.
Is it Jazz?
No, Jazz was... I think his name's Blaster.
I believe. Yeah, there's definitely a Blaster in the episode.
I know you have a game related to this, so I guess I don't want to...
No, it's fine. It won't
okay.
ruin the game. It won't ruin the game.
The game, similar to the episode, completely impenetrable.
I can't wait.
It's going to involve drawings. No, it isn't.
It's an audio show. So they also have Skylynx, who is, like, I guess a flying brontosaurus. Is that the best way to describe him?
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll play a clip of Skylynx in a second, but they also have the Dinobots, and the Dinobots are cool. And then the Decepticons have, hold on, Jesus, I have to like scroll through so much stuff to figure out what the hell is there. The Terrabots,
the Predacrons.
The Predacrons.
Yeah. So there's a lot of characters there. But anyway, Skylynx is like a dick. He's British and he's arrogant. Let's take a listen.
Skylynx!
Save your ammunition, Autobots! Superior forces are taking over!
Well, Commander Modesty's here. As long as he delivers, I don't care about his ego.
Commander Modesty.
Yeah, this is always one of those things about Transformers that when you think about it as an adult is a little weird. Like, so Skylynx was built or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was created with like a dickhead personality. Like that, how does that happen?
Because they got to have a varied personality, Ben. How else do you keep the plot going?
Yeah, I understand that.
I'm giving you a hard time. I just thought Lynx, Sky, do you think he's supposed to be like a weasel?
He's huge.
No, but the shape, like physically, like he's supposed to be like a lynx. Do you see what I'm saying?
You couldn't have said, is he supposed to be a lynx? You had to say, is he supposed to be a weasel?
I think he's a pterodactyl. That's what I'm thinking.
I guess.
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm confused. He flies around. He's British. It's a very confusing character.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they also have a Transformer that looked like a GoBot. And I think at this point, the GoBots were pretty dead. So it's just a real slap in the face. So next week, we'll probably do like a Valentine's Day episode just to give the listeners a little preview. And I was hoping that there would be a GoBots Valentine's Day episode, but amazingly, there is not. So it's kind of a bummer.
I feel let down.
Yeah. So we're about a minute and a half into the episode. So Tornadron, am I saying the name right, Shaylin?
Yeah.
Okay. Tornadron shows up. And it's an energy cloud, but he turns into a giant spider for some reason.
He's a giant, crazy spider robot thing.
Yeah.
Is it a robot?
No.
But in some scenes, it kind of is.
Yeah. Very, very confusing. On top of how busy the episode was, they just decide to change things up. Like, oh, it's a spider. Now it's a spider robot. Now it's a different animal altogether, or beast or whatever.
It's not particularly well explained.
Yeah.
And at the exact same time, the Dinobots and the Predacons and all of the other quote unquote primitives hear something. I'll play 2 clips for you.
Me, Grimlock, am stealthy fighter.
Come, Grimlock, come all primitives.
Who calling Grimlock?
And here's the other one.
Me, Grimlock, must answer call, even though Grimlock don't know who calls or where from.
So there's a sky god, I guess. I wasn't sure at first if it was related to Primacron, since the timing was so like in sync with Tornadron showing up.
And the voice sounds very familiar too.
Sort of, yeah. So
Or
it's
similar,
a little bit
rather.
confusing.
Yeah.
So, Shaylin, I'm looking to you
Yes.
as somebody who's a proclaimed expert in this episode.
It's Primacron.
No, it's not Primacron that calls them. It's Primacron's assistant.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. No, it's Unicron's assistant, isn't it?
No.
No, Unicron is a creator. Has been created. Unicron answers to Primacron until he no longer answers to him.
Yeah,
Okay.
Primacron.
It's the Oracle.
Like the Oracle. Thank you. It's the Oracle. But what I really want to ask about is the primitives, right? Because so the Dinobots hear this.
Yep.
The fucking Predacons. I can't believe I have to keep saying these names over and over. All of the vaguely,
Welcome to the Transformers.
all of the vaguely animal themed robots hear this,
Right.
including the cassettes that are in both Blaster and Soundwave, right?
Right,
Yes.
because the cassettes turn into animals.
But why are the like they're called the primitives, right?
Right.
But that doesn't make sense.
So they're primitives because they're not humanoid.
What?
Huh?
So
What?
the Transformers who are not primitives are basically people, right? Like it's like dudes.
No, Skylinks is Skylinks a
Is an
primitive?
animal. Yeah, he's a primitive.
But he talks like a gentrified.
It's their physical shape.
But
But so how come the primitives talk like Neanderthals and Skylinks is like
Not all of
advanced?
them do. That's just a few of them.
so okay,
All right.
all right. I'm gonna.
So
I'm-
it's man versus animal. That's what I'm telling you. That's the distinction.
So I have 2 follow-up questions because I'm not satisfied by your answer, but I don't think that there is a satisfying answer. So I will accept what you're saying. So number 1, the cassette tapes.
Yeah.
Why would they be primitive? They're cassette tapes.
So once they leave Soundwave's body, they're
Yeah.
not cassette tapes. They turn into animals.
But-
because there is a cassette tape that is not a primitive that does not get called.
Because okay, so maybe this is the wider question. I thought that the primitives initially were created by Primacron, so it was one of those like the Oracle calls them to destroy their creator, but that's not the case. So why were the primitives the one who got this call? Like I don't know what Grimlock was going to do that like the rest of the Autobots were not. That's where I'm getting lost. Why was it these dum-dums?
He's going to save the universe.
Right, but why? But why? You can't just say the plot. Like it's not satisfying.
No, except that I don't think that there really truly is I don't know that there's a real explanation. Like I
that's-
just take it as face value. Like the animal shaped ones are primitives.
Okay.
Doesn't the Oracle say like your lack? Essentially, later in the episode, the Oracle says like your lack of intelligence is the only way we're going to defeat this superior intelligence.
I guess.
think so,
I mean,
yeah.
that's insane too. But
Yeah.
okay,
Because it's absorbing
Don't shoot the messenger, Ben.
smarts
no,
or something. I don't know.
It like, I mean, to be fair, that's what this podcast is like breaking down this level of minutia.
Yeah.
So that I'm thinking about this so hard is both necessary and like aggravating because I know there's no answer. It's just it's the central conceit of this whole episode. So I can't like get behind the episode fully if I don't have any idea like why what is happening
So
is happening.
think about it in terms of like, what's the Stephen King Maximum Overdrive, right?
Sure.
So the weapons that they need have to be the thing that is less developed because otherwise the aliens are controlling it.
But what makes it less developed? Because they made it into a dinosaur? It's dumb?
I think that the animal ones just have less intelligence. Like, I really do think that it's supposed to be like on Earth, you
So,
know,
like an
people
evolution
own
thing, like
dogs.
the primitives came first.
I think so.
No, they didn't though, because the primitives were created by the Autobots. Or I'm sorry, the Dinobots were. I don't know about the rest of them.
Huh.
Yeah, it's really confusing. This is what I'm talking about. Like it's so dense.
So I'm going to go back to my original like apology and just say I think maybe like 3.5-year-old Shaylin just accepted things for so long at face value that I just accepted them as fact based on my assumptions as a 3-year-old.
Well, you're a grown up now. And it's time to move on. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Well, I'm sure we'll talk more about this. It's very confusing to me. So the primitives all are compelled to go follow this voice, and they climb into Triptychon, who's this big dinosaur fortress guy, and they fly away. And one of the Autobots, I'm not sure which one, the voices are a little indistinguishable. He kind of explains this far better than I ever could.
What is going on here?
A valid question, to be sure.
Indeed, yes.
So they leave, and then Tornadron turns into like a green light, and then all of the Autobots start dancing, and then they turn white and die.
Yes.
That's what happens. Like they just turn white and die, and
Because their energy has been drained.
For the listener, this is not a Ben joke where he jokes that everybody dies. That actually happens.
That's
and
actually
happens a
so,
lot.
yeah.
Yeah. There's so much death and destruction, but it's like it's not played for laughs. It's just there. So like Tornadron then sucks the life out of the moon that the battle is going on, and another planet, and he just moves on. It's weird.
So going back to the TF wiki, I think that it's supposed to be Earth. But they never actually say Earth.
Oh. So they sucked all the energy out of Earth?
That is correct.
So all the people on Earth died?
Oh Jesus!
What the fuck? Really?
Yeah, the body count is super high
Oh my
until
God.
everything's restored. So
Jesus.
Is that why they don't show any humans in that episode? Because like they don't want to
Maybe.
show like all of mankind.
humanity is over.
Yeah.
Jesus, that's insane.
yeah, like it's not stated overtly, but that's the general
Okay.
accepted like
Interesting.
So as this massive pure being of energy, whatever it is flying around, just sucking the life out of the universe. I still felt like there was no stake. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh my God, he just sucked, according to Shaylin, just sucked the life out of all of Earth. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Whatever.
It's interesting you say that because I had a similar thought because I equate all things in space to Star Wars. And I had that thought about like, okay, so the first Death Star destroyed Alderaan and all those people died. And it's a big deal. Obi-Wan has a stroke or whatever. And then in this, yeah, Tornadron just kills all life on Earth and the moon. And it's just, you move on. You're
And
done with it.
no one's reacting.
Yeah.
They're just like, well, we have to follow the call or whatever.
well, because they're under the Oracle spell, right? They're like zombies.
Do you think it's the Oracle from the Matrix?
That would be a good. I like this connection we're starting to develop. Let's
I don't think we should develop it further. All right. So the Autobots are dead. The Decepticons are dead. And we've got the Primitives. And they're traveling along and they're inside Triptychon. And one of the problems with this is because they're primitive, they're just given the worst dialogue that you can imagine. And let's give the listeners a little taste.
Sludge no light, Predacons! Let's stop! Predacons stop Dinobots first!
There's probably 4 minutes of dialogue just like that, like slow, monosyllabic. It was very frustrating.
And like, I wrote this down. Like, when you build, like, those characters are fine for like 1 or 2 lines, right? You could have them like, you could make a joke about it, or it's like harmless to your ears and brain. But when these characters are the main focus of the episode and they have to talk like that in in paragraphs, like, oh boy, it grates on you.
So as an adult watching this specific scene, I had this epiphany of like, oh, This was strictly so that we would buy the dinosaur-shaped toys. So it wasn't for wit. It wasn't for intrigue. It was strictly because people weren't buying those ones enough.
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, the look of this is all, again, it's really cool. Like, I think it looks markedly different than other Transformers episodes, too.
Yeah.
And part of it is just these character designs. They're not cars. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that there's something to be said for that. But
there's also so many characters. Like there's points where like a lot of them look cool in certain scenes, but then you can tell like there's just too much going on and they just like gave up on some of the background characters.
Yeah, for sure. So they're all riding inside Triptychon. And
except for Skylinks, right?
Skylinks is outside. Yeah, he's flying around. And because they're still at their core Autobots and Decepticons, they get into a little bit of a tussle. And something really funny happens. I'm not sure that this will come through on the clip, but I'll talk through it. So what happens there is Grimlock shoots fire at the Decepticon things.
The Predacons.
Yeah, and they start coughing.
I mean, when I'm on fire, my first instinct is not to stop, drop, and roll. It's to cough.
Yeah, but you're not like a big robot either. Why would a robot cough?
That was sarcasm.
I understand. This is going well.
And I'm just over here laughing at both of you. So
yeah. Okay. So they're flying around in space and like it's not entirely clear what's happening. They hear this low voice from time to time, and fortunately the writer gave us Skylinks to give us a little bit of an explanation.
The closer we get to the collar, the older the space junk becomes. And unless I'm wrong, which is, of course, extremely unlikely, we are being called to a very ancient and sacred place.
And that's when it hit me that this is the plot of the first Star Trek movie.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh my!
What year did that come out?
Before this, for sure.
Huh.
Yeah.
I've never seen the Star Trek movies.
So the Enterprise is getting called by this being called Viger. And they go and they find it, and it's like the old.
And his assistant is named the Oracle?
Yeah.
Yes.
That actually is what happens. It's like the old Voyager.
Oh, cool.
Like space thing. You say cool. The movie is complete ass.
Oh.
But
Bummer.
It's very, very similar. So anyway, they land on a planet where I guess the signal is emanating from. And this is where I started to appreciate Grimlock a little more, because he just says strange things for the rest of the episode. So Tornadron shows up and Grimlock kind of charges after him, and he says something that like made me laugh out loud.
Grimlock know what he does!
I feel like that's my inner monologue at work most days. I know what he does. Just as I'm charging into like one bad decision or another.
Didn't you write that down in your quarterly assessment, your performance assessment?
I certainly will moving ahead.
Yeah. Ben know what he does. Fantastic.
Yeah. So Tornadron de-energizes Triptychon and he crushes Grimlock, and the rest of the group goes into a cave because Skylinks decides to be the leader, and they know they have to go into this cave. And here is where it gets really trippy. So they're wandering around a cave and they find like a rainbow prism thing. It kind of looked like that cave in The Last Jedi where Rey goes to ask herself about her parents. You remember that scene?
Yeah, she looks at her like many reflections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So replace many reflections with rainbow, and you kind of have what this looked like. And then we meet the Oracle, and the Oracle gives literally a 100-second story, just a 100-second story. It's insane. I got 10 seconds of it. Let's listen to it and we can talk through it.
He created Tornadron, a cloud of living energy that, like a cannibal, feeds on energy, leaving suns dark and planets inert, blank slates to do with as he pleases.
Picture that just going on and on and on. It never ended. It was amazing.
This is a kid's show.
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
the language is so overwrought. Like, I love it as an adult, but like, man, like watching this as a kid, like, how the fuck do you understand what is being said?
Yeah.
So do you remember in the late 90s, everybody was all down on
Sorry.
What were we down on in the late 90s?
what's his face? The guy who made Dawson's Creek because it was like teenagers using big vocabulary?
Kevin Williamson.
Yes.
Well, it's good you knew his name. I was going to make like a live journal reference.
I was going to say Paul Stupin, but he was the producer, not the writer.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Stupum.
Stupin. So anyway, when we were rewatching this, and I was like, as an adult, there's irony here. Like, it's not so much the vocabulary thing, right? Like going back and watching kids' cartoons now, if they just replaced things the way that they like use adult vocabulary, I feel like children would sound smarter. It's a learning tool. It's a moral that makes it so that it's okay for them to sell toys this way. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's basically Sesame Street.
Okay.
All right.
Hope we can cut that down. There's a long monologue.
I don't think so.
Yeah, we don't cut for content.
We went from Bob Stupum to vocabulary.
All Stupin.
Bob Stupum. So I had two questions about this monologue, and one of them, okay, this is incredibly nerdy. I know, it's shocking. The Oracle has or is the matrix of leadership. So that was like the MacGuffin in the Transformers movie.
Yes.
Prime takes it out of his chest and gives it to, okay. I don't know why the Oracle was or had that, since it's a really big deal, but we can't answer that. The other thing was, I think this is supposed to kind of explain what Primacron's plan is.
Yeah.
And the plan is to like suck off planets for energy, but for like what purpose? Just to have it?
No.
Okay.
So Primacron is using Tornadron to clear planets so that he has like a blank slate to restart a new society or whatever he feels like.
But he's been alive for a long time. He's just pretty shitty at his job. That's the conclusion.
Well, because his first attempt
Yeah.
stopped listening to him, and so he couldn't make him do that anymore.
Like a petulant child.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So because he couldn't control the rebellion, he no longer had blank slates, so he needs Giant Spider Energy Monster to do that for him.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the plan.
I challenge any listener to watch this episode one time through and get any of this, because I don't think it's possible.
I agree. Yeah.
Like I'm not saying I don't believe you. It's just, even after having watched this episode multiple times, like I'm like, what? This episode more or less stands on its own. Like knowing what happens in the movie helps because you know what Unicron is, but like all of this stuff, none of this has come up before.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So I think my problem with this 100-second explanation was, so I remember the movie. I don't think it was like well made or good, but like I remember it. Like
Shut your mouth.
But Unicron was a big bad. Like that was a huge antagonist for the Transformers, and now you have this short 22-minute episode that is sort of cutting the legs out from underneath the movie.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and so like Unicron is just floating around, like his severed head is just floating around, and your Primacron is brought back, and you're like, oh shit, like this should be a big sequel. Like they should do another movie about this. No, it's just 22 minutes, and it's resolved pretty easily. Yeah. That was my big issue with this part.
Mm-hmm.
I almost wonder, and I don't know what the actual timelines are or anything like that, but part of me when we were watching, I was like, I wonder if this was almost like it's okay, kids, Unicron's gone, you're not going to lose another Prime.
Maybe.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It could be.
It's interesting. It
felt like a backtrack.
I kind of had the same thought as both of you, like, because they don't explain what Unicron, where he came from in the movie.
Yeah.
And he was a big planet thing. So to see this explanation is so, I don't know. Dave said cut the legs out. I feel like that's probably about where I am with it. But I think you're probably right too, Shaylin. It feels like a backtrack in some sense.
Like almost like an apology without saying it out loud.
Kind of, yeah, because they bring back Optimus Prime, I think, within the next 2 or 3 episodes after this. So that's interesting. Yeah.
Maybe that's why I liked this episode so much when I was a kid. Because it was like, oh no, it's going to be fine. Unicron's gone. I don't know.
Did you sing it like that?
Yes.
Unicron's gone.
Unicron's gone.
I'm going to make a drop out of that. So after this story, because they're idiots, the primitives are the ones who can stop all this somehow. And that's okay. I will accept that premise.
Okay.
And they start to attack, and we get this line from Skylinks that I adored.
Our leader, Grimlock, is gone.
Suffer my rage, monster!
Suffer my rage.
My poor wife listened to me replay that out loud 15 times.
It sounds like it should be in an Iron Maiden song. I loved it so much.
Yeah. And he goes on too, like, suffer my rage.
Yeah.
Show no mercy. Yeah.
And then he's immediately killed.
I have to...
Just within seconds, just
It's
dead.
delightful.
I've been waiting all week for something to happen at work that I could say that and have it make sense contextually.
Yeah.
And I want you to know that we're 3 days into the work week and I am still mighty disappointed.
Well, you're having a good work week if that's the case.
I don't know.
Or an appropriate work week, one or the other.
That's
Yeah,
probably
sure.
true.
Yeah.
I don't have those often, so that's good.
But I like this part of the episode, one, because there was a lot of action, and there's not necessarily tons of that in this episode.
Yeah.
And two, just like I mentioned, so Skylinks attacks and is killed immediately. And then the Terracons are running away, and Tornadron turns into like a tiger, and he literally eats one of them.
Yeah. It's really good.
And then the Predacons combine into their ultimate form, and again are killed within like 2 seconds. And then the Dinobots just attack and are also killed. So they're all wiped out, and you're left with that thought that they're all dead. They're not.
I have to say,
Yeah.
watching this episode after watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I was thrilled that the action sequences aligned. It's like, oh, here's 6 crazy robots doing 6 things, and then cut away and cut back. And the same 6 robots are still there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was more than 2 things on the screen doing things at once. Yeah, it was
Definitely.
good. Yeah,
The
I agree with
animation
that.
was lovely.
Definitely. Yeah, I totally agree. Visually, this is really, really good stuff.
Yeah.
Really cool. So we cut back to Triptychon. They all sound the fucking same. I'm sure that I'm messing up names left and right. You're going to fucking deal with it, listener. But I'm sorry. I'm not angry. But Grimlock's alive. He has a hard head. He tells us about it.
Good thing Grimlock have hard head. Otherwise would now be Dino Splatter.
He makes like that weird Donald Duck noise.
Yeah, he starts motorboating one of the female Autobots. It's super weird.
Yeah, the necrophilia was not something I was expecting there.
Yeah. I got my jollies out of it, but not for kids.
Interesting timing with all of the Ted Bundy documentaries and stuff coming up this week. That it would take that angle, but
the Zac Efron starring biopic is
yeah, I'm not sure about
coming
that
out?
one.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just bringing
I
it up.
wanna
That's
see
that's
it,
when I
but-
read.
Yeah.
I was going to launch into a quick
Uh-huh.
power hour.
Oh.
Grimlock.
Yeah.
Also, it's Greg Berger. He plays Odie in a bunch of the Garfield cartoons.
Who?
Odie?
No, the guy's name.
Greg Berger. It might be Berger, but I like saying Berger because it makes me
Greg.
laugh.
Burger. Who voices Triptychon, Shaylin?
Brad Garrett.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Ray.
Everybody loves Triptychon.
Hey, Robert. Hey, Triptychon.
Hello, Optimus Prime.
I don't have any other Ray Romano other than, hey.
But it's good.
I'm a sports writer. Someday I'm going to do a drop for these power hour intrusions.
Yeah.
So at least I can get a little enjoyment out of it. But
Okay.
this one wasn't too bad.
Not too bad.
Not too bad. Except now I've lost where I am.
Well, you find where you are.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to let you know that Skylinks was in another cartoon,
The
Rock
cha-
and Wrestling.
The character?
No, the voice.
Yeah, Brad Garrett.
No, he was the Iron Sheik.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Interesting. Brad Garrett was in Rock and Wrestling. We've talked about this, haven't we?
I don't know if we've talked about it on the podcast proper.
He plays Hulk Hogan on Rock and Wrestling.
So maybe that's how they recruited him for this episode.
Maybe. Yeah, we'll have to watch that at some point. So anyway, Grimlock is alive. He's the universe's last hope, as the Oracle tells him. And Tornadron returns to Primacon's lair. And he becomes like a smiling sun face. It reminded me of that oatmeal that you could like put icing on. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, you could draw on it.
Yeah, you put like the faces
It's
and
like
stuff
jelly.
on it. Yeah, that's what this looked like.
I guess a little bit.
A lot like. But Tornatron, for all his power, maybe not too bright. I'm going to play 2 clips.
I order you to stop, Tornadron.
I take no orders from you. Instead, I take your life force.
Good banter.
Mm.
Here's
oh
another.
God, he's turned into Unicron. Go on.
But you see Primacron sounds like Megatron?
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway.
There's nothing like dining at home. Or is that on home?
He's like a shitty Bond villain. That's bizarre.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Hearing that last clip out of context, whew, that is scary sounding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Hearing nothing.
It's like the voice of Satan talking to me.
If Satan was talking to me like that, I'd be getting some laughs. that is
Nothing like dining at home.
some bad dialogue. So Grimlock shows up at Primacron's lair for his finest hour, and he comes into another really, really funky beat.
Grimlock here to save universe. You are creator.
And we already talked about what Primacron looks like, so we don't need to get too much into that. But this is where it's revealed that he's like a monkey Ewok.
Mhm.
And the episode has really almost peaked at this point because we get about 47 minutes of Primacron doing some science babble. Do you guys like science babble?
I love science babble. Do you have a clip?
Of course I do.
We are finished. I've amplified the energy parameters, minimized the drive augmenter, redirected the ion flow. I've tried everything.
Me Grimlock solve problem. Ugh.
Of course, the reverse switch. Why didn't I think of that?
Me, Grimlock, solve problem.
Yeah. But not impenetrable. This is very easily understandable what's going on here.
You just got to stop thinking. It's like using
yeah.
an Apple computer for the first time.
Yeah.
Just turn your brain off.
Yeah, you just got to fall into the madness.
Do you know who Grimlock reminds me of? Like another simple character that just lives this extraordinary life and saves the day multiple times. I started calling him like Forrest Gumpticon.
It's really good.
You said this reminded you of Star Trek 1. I'll give you that, but this was definitely Forrest Gump for me. Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's apt.
Thank you.
Yeah.
When I open up the WatchBots restaurant, there's going to be a Greg Burger. Been ruminating on that for like 4 minutes. It was worth it. I think it landed.
What about Peter Cullen's curry chicken?
Okay.
Yeah, we'll work with that. Yeah.
It's not as clean, but
No.
we can
I'm
workshop
gonna
that.
figure it out. Yeah.
And then you could have a Brad Garrett Cobb salad because Thai Cobb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Omelet or something. Bread omelet.
Reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can get back to this. I think this is worth revisiting. But
I think so too.
Agreed.
let's finish this episode up. So by flipping a switch, Tornatron is drained. So this villain that was more powerful than Unicron immediately destroyed. Everybody gets their life back, including, assumedly, the people on Earth.
Right.
Hopefully. I mean, we never see it. And then Grimlock celebrates for us. And I know, Shaylin, this holds a special place in your heart.
Grimlock saved universe. Oh, Grimlock hero.
You guys, I picked this episode because of that one line.
Well, I hope you enjoyed it.
I did. I'm like thrilled over here. I was super excited when we watched, and I am super happy right now.
It took 20 and a half minutes to get there for 6 seconds. So
Grimlock
a good use
hero.
of time. Yeah.
Could you give us some context? Like, why do you like that line? Is there some childhood memory associated with that?
It just brings me great joy when the underdog that people have made fun of sees a victory and doesn't hold a grudge. Instead, he saves the day.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have to save the day. Everybody made fun of him for being dumb at the beginning of the episode.
Did they?
Yeah, there's like a line about it, about Grimlock being stupid.
I guess I did call him a dum-dum too.
I called him simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
Okay. And then he's dancing around, and we get this clip, which I'll play, and then we can talk about.
You ruined my lap!
Me, Grimlock, think that is smartest thing I ever done.
And then it cuts to black, and that's it. That's how it ends, sort of, because we get this coda when it comes back from commercial about Soundwave and Blaster and their tapes. And it has nothing to do with the rest of the episode at all. And it was like the most blatant commercial within a show I think I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it was
weird.
I thought that it was something wrong with the file that we were watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess not. The problem was just with the show, but it was such an abrupt ending. It was kind of bizarre.
No, Grimlock destroyed the lair where
Right.
Primacon created Unicron. So he made sure that Optimus Prime couldn't be killed again.
Right, but
So everybody, so this is
He's
my
a
problem.
hero.
This goes back to like the stake of the episode. So like everybody, like they reverse Tornadron's killing everybody. Everybody kind of wakes up. Grimlock celebrates, and that's it. Like there's no what happened. What's the aftermath of this? Like what goes on? Nope, nothing.
I just told you.
and then I woke up.
And then I woke up.
So,
it ends
what-
it ends like the Cowboys of Moo Mesa episode
Sort
that we
of,
saw.
yeah.
Yep.
No, but so at the end of Cowboys of Moo Mesa, tomorrow they're going to start all over again, right? Like it's going to all happen again.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of this episode, there's no current risk of Unicron. Like they have taken out the Death Star and they took the plans and there's no means for Vader to build a new one.
Okay, well, here's where I side with Dave on this. Think of Star Wars, right?
Uh-huh.
Luke shoots the Death Star.
Right?
The movie ends. It feels a little incomplete.
Right. There's no like the whole galaxy is not celebrating or awarding Luke Skywalker and Han Solo the awards. You know, it's like it just ends.
Yeah.
Because in 2 episodes, Optimus Prime is coming back. We're
Yeah,
setting
but
the stage, you guys.
But you
Come
don't
on.
know that
That's why we play contextual feelings, so we can put ourselves in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we could spend a long time on this, and I think the really important thing here is the end credits music, which is fucking bitchin'. It goes on like that for another 35 seconds, but man, just good stuff. Now, a sad coda to this before we go on to our ratings. This episode is the last appearance of the Dinobots and Trypticon. So Grimlock saves the universe and then is never seen again.
Yeah.
So,
Womp, 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 womp.
you know, you can die a hero, can live long enough to see yourself be the villain. And then I woke up. But let's rate it. Would you show this to a child?
I would show this to a child over the age of 8.
Why 8?
Because I feel like watching the Earth get destroyed by a giant energy spider might be traumatic for someone a bit younger.
Well, to be fair, I'm 34 and didn't understand that was the Earth, but I think that's reasonable. Okay. Dave?
I'm taking into consideration the language, the dialogue that they use, the vocabulary that they have, the insane action that happens. And so, no, I would not show this to a child until they've studied postmodernism. and they can fully grasp what this episode is talking about.
Mhm.
Yeah. So no.
Keep Kevin Williamson away from this. Okay?
How would you rate it, Ben?
Me?
Would you show it to a child?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, obviously. So Dave, for the sake of the listeners, got me a sort of reissue of Hot Rod from the original line, and my son loves it, and he's 3, and he really wants to play with it. So I'm already kind of fighting this temptation to be like, yeah, Transformers, this and that, because like if you go to Target now and look, like there's stuff from the new movie, but Transformers are not as big as they used to be. So I'm already fighting this urge to be like, hey, we should watch Transformers. So I would show it to him, but I won't because I'm ever so slightly more responsible than that. You know what I mean?
I'd have to watch the rest of the cartoon to see if it's just as bonkers as this episode, but I wouldn't show this particular episode. I would probably show other Transformers stuff though.
Okay, that's reasonable.
That's fair.
Yeah. And
Also, that toy was for you, not for your son.
yeah, no, I know. He hasn't played with it.
Good. I'm just kidding.
And he never will. And it's worth noting too, before we go to the other rating, we will absolutely come back to Transformers. I had a lot of fun with this, but this is just the first of, I'm sure, a series of these. But for the other rating, let's go with 1 to 5 robot pregnancies. Shaylin?
I give it no robot pregnancies, but I give it 10 happy Grimlocks.
Does that equal 1 robot pregnancy?
No, robots don't give birth.
Eh.
That's how you end up with a Unicron.
Well, I watched the beginning of the episode and I saw some sperm, so.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, that's fair. Dave?
Rating this against what I think are better Transformers episodes, I'm going to give this a 1. There's got to be better Transformers out there. Yeah, again,
I mean, other episodes have Optimus Prime, so
yeah, so that's a plus already. But yeah, this is confounding, busy. It's pointless. There's no stakes.
it's not pointless.
It's pointless. There's no stakes. It's pointless. Shaylin, it's pointless. Yeah.
Dave's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, 1 out of 5 robot pregnancies.
I'm going to go... Now I feel like an idiot because I forgot what my rating would be. Like I just didn't put thought into it. Top of my head, I'm going to go with a 3, but it's a 3 that is developing, you know? So when we watched it the first time, I would have said 1.5, but the more I watch it, the more I kind of get it. And, you know, even just for the visuals and the music, it's pretty worth it, I think. But,
So listeners, take 88 minutes to watch the show 4 times and you'll get a fine appreciation for it.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hashtag Transformers.
I like it.
Hit us up on Twitter.
Yeah.
So Shaylin, you have a game this week. You haven't told us about it, so I will throw it to you for an explanation and a snappy title.
So, I've forgotten the snappy title that I came up with.
A good start.
It's a good start. We're playing a version.
Solid.
We're playing a version of 2 Truths and a Lie.
You have what appears to be a spreadsheet in front of you.
That is correct.
Which is just a good harbinger.
Is it printed out, Ben?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It's color coded and printed out.
My God.
So you have to understand my time was invested well, just not in a title because I'm not great at those always.
Sure.
All right.
Maybe at the end of the game, Ben and I can help you come up with a title.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can do that.
A little mini game.
I'm going to say in rapid fire, so we're going to go back and forth. Dave, you'll start, and then it'll be Ben. I'm going to say the name of a Transformer,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to tell me in the episode or not, yes or no. And you can get a bonus point if you can tell me Autobot, Decepticon, or other.
Other being like primitive or Predacon or something like that.
Predacons were Decepticons.
Okay.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So the others would be the 4 character like Unicron
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
So now I've given you the bonus point.
Did you put Unicron on this?
Unicron is absolutely in the game.
Oh.
Or was, but no longer is.
Okay.
All right. So.
Are we going through all of these?
No, I'm just going to do an assortment.
Okay. I was going to say...
All 45 of them.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know that there's 45 characters, and we have a propensity for long games. Anyway.
So in the episode and what it is, or it's Allegiance.
That's right. And
Okay.
it's rapid fire, so you're going as fast as you possibly can.
Bumblebee.
Okay.
Optimus Prime.
All right, so Ben, you're going to start. Ready?
I thought Dave was going to start.
Dave's going to start.
Optimus Prime.
Razor Claw.
Not in the show.
False.
Fuck. And it's a Decepticon.
That's correct. You get, I guess, a point anyway.
Okay.
You shouldn't get a point if you get the original question wrong.
Okay.
All
So
right.
you don't
Hold
get
on.
a bonus. You got to get the
You have to get the
initial
first
one to
answer
get the bonus.
Starscream.
Okay.
I'm
Yep.
the one naming them, not you.
Galvatron.
Sludge.
In.
Good.
Autobot.
Good.
Dinobot.
Cyclonus.
What?
Dave. Cyclonus? Cyclonus.
In.
Good.
You see that
Autobot.
you see that on amazing.net as well.
Ironhide.
In.
No.
Fuck.
Snarl.
Not in.
Wrong.
Fuck.
Dive Bomb.
Yes.
Yes.
I think that's the other Starscream. Decepticon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Blaster.
In. Autobot.
Amazing.net.
I barely know her.
Wheeljack.
No.
Good.
What?
You got it right.
Oh. Autobot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna call that a good set of rounds because you each got 5.
Did we?
Well, Ben has 6 points and Dave has 4 points, and I'm not gonna just keep going because you're just gonna keep saying amazing.net.
Ironhide.
Bumblebee.
Out. Decepticon. I'm just kidding. I know he's not a Decepticon.
So, who won?
Ben.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
That's 2 weeks in a row for you.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But last week I was robbed, so really it's only 1 week in a row.
Okay. So I lose all perspective on things. So I had to sit and think for a while about what did we do last week? I'm just yeah, I did good. Well, that was fun. And the name of that game was Two Toots and a Guy. Transformers.
Yes. Yes.
Dave, you have any name suggestions? Decepta hosts.
I can't. Shit, I can't think of anything right now.
It's Two Toots and a Guy.
Yeah,
Damn straight.
you won.
On to the mailbag, and this week's question is from Rod. What is your favorite brand of old school cereal?
Shaylin.
So I have this very fond memory of eating Swedish Chef cereal,
What?
but it was very limited run.
Yeah, I think
Hold on,
so.
I'm Googling this. Keep talking. I don't believe this.
And in my mind's eye, I have an idea of what I think it tasted like, but I'm not really convinced.
Was it felt?
actually
Did it
tasted
taste like
that.
felt?
No, it was like kind of like a waffle crisp flavor, but
Oh my
not.
God.
What?
It did exist. It's called Crunchy Stars. I've never heard of this.
Well, we didn't always have sugar cereal in our house.
Mhm.
Like usually we had Frosted Flakes and Rice Krispies. But when we got that sweet Swedish Chef cereal,
Yeah.
we went through like 10 boxes of it in a week, I feel like probably.
I like how your family was like, no sugary cereal, and then your mom or dad went to the grocery store, saw that Swedish Chef, just slapped on the box, and was like, "Oh yeah, we're bending
That's
the
the
rules here. We're going with this cereal."
Like, so I say we didn't have a lot of sugary cereal. That might not be entirely accurate now that I'm thinking about it, because I definitely had like Fruity Pebbles too.
Yeah, and that's like
So
pure
it's not
sugar.
like we never had it. It was just
So you fucking lied.
Well, no, we must have been on a health run for a little while, and then
Sure.
we got the Swedish Chef cereal, so it was like a big, exciting
It's a good way to
change.
ease back into that with the crunchy stars.
That's correct. The crunchy stars were delicious, as I recall. We couldn't eat our breakfast without doing the impressions the whole time.
Just milk falling out of your, pouring out of your mouth. Yeah, yeah.
Such a fantastic memory.
It's a good visual.
Was there a Sandy Eagle cereal?
No.
I'm a big Sandy Eagle guy.
They just
And not
took,
in like a weird, like alt-right way. Like he's just a funny character.
yeah, they took
American.
blueberries and just like stretched it out.
Yeah, I would eat that.
Yeah, totally.
All right. Dave?
Favorite old school cereal. I'd have to go with Fruity Pebbles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was my favorite. My sisters liked Cocoa Pebbles, and I was the only one that liked Fruity Pebbles. And so my mom would go to the grocery store, and most weeks she would get Cocoa Pebbles, and then Fruity Pebbles would come in one week, and I would be so happy, and my sisters would pretty much cry because they didn't have their Cocoa Pebbles. So yeah, Fruity Pebbles holds a special place in my heart.
Yeah, we were not a big cereal family. So I say Frosted Flakes, which I realize is boring, but I remember having the Batman cereal from when the Tim Burton movie came out, and there was a bank attached to it. And like,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah,
I don't remember that.
the bank was like plastic and Batman's face like rubbed off. And I don't mean like it was supposed to, like it just kind of crumpled after a little bit. I don't even remember what was in the cereal, but did you guys have any like cereal rituals, or what was your deal? Just normal?
Take the bowl, pour in the cereal, put some milk on it, eat it with a spoon.
Wow, that's
Glad I asked.
with Fruity
thrilling.
Pebbles and tricks, like any kind of like Fruit Loops or anything like that. I would let the cereal sink in just long enough to not get soggy, finish it really quick, and then drink the fruity milk.
What, did you have like a stopwatch? How would you know? That feels like alchemy.
I don't know. It's just alchemy.
Madness.
Yeah, just a mad genius over here. No, I just like kind of like you could feel it with a spoon. Like, oh, this is like when it gets too soggy. So you just kind of wait a little bit and just enough for the milk to turn pink or whatever, and then go to town.
I was a big dry cereal kid. Really?
We've talked about this. Yeah.
Have we talked about this on the air?
Yeah.
That's just so weird to me.
It's not weird.
It's weird to me. I think it's weird.
It's not weird.
Keep telling yourself.
I loved dry Rice Krispies.
Yeah.
I would eat those by the fistful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frosted Flakes would get like, they wouldn't cut the inside of your mouth, but it was truly like living on the razor's edge.
Well, that was Captain
know?
Crunch.
Captain Crunch
Yeah,
was
yeah.
sharp, yeah.
Yeah. I can also draw a perfect circle. So
There you go.
do with that what you will. I was in the store a couple weeks ago and I saw Sour Patch Kids cereal.
Oh,
That's nasty.
that's fucking vile.
Yeah.
I like Sour Patch Kids, and
Ugh.
I love cereal, but the concept of combining those two things makes me want to
You
retch.
judge me about dry cereal and you like Sour Patch Kids.
They're delicious.
No, they're not. This episode's over.
Goodbye. I was watching the Royal Rumble last Sunday, and it took me. I didn't notice this, but it took me up until the last match, the Rumble itself. They did a picture-in-picture review or rewind, and I noticed that it was brought to you by Golden Crisp,
Yeah.
and I was like,
They're the new sponsor for New Day.
"Oh, okay, that makes more sense." I was like, where has Golden Crisp been for 15, 20 years? And like, why are all of a sudden they, the sponsor for this huge WWE pay-per-view?
They've been waiting for this prime advertising opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so instead of Bootios being mass-produced for grocery stores, they just transferred over so that they would endorse a cereal that exists.
I see. Okay.
Amazing.net.
Anyway, I went grocery shopping before the Rumble, and I was mighty disappointed on Monday morning that we didn't have, like, the Honey Crisps, because I wanted them.
Golden Crisp.
Golden Crisps. Weren't they called Honey Crisps at a point?
No, he's Honey Bear, isn't he?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
No, wait a minute. That's the guy from Honey Boo Boo. Was he Honey Bear? What the hell was
No,
that?
he's.
guy's name?
I think he's Honey
Sugar
Bear
Bear.
or Sugar Bear. One of those.
He was a pervert, right?
No, the Mama June left him for a pervert.
Okay.
That was a previous relationship.
Sugar Bear was a pervert. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't
No,
know.
the frog from Sugar Smacks was a pervert.
I don't have any money. Don't sue me.
Can't get enough of that golden crisp.
So anyway, if you want to write to us and hear this level of banter, email at watchbotspod.com and we'll get back to you in the order in which it was received. So guys, any last thoughts on Transformers?
I want to thank you both for indulging me on my favorite episode, which I acknowledge is not the best episode of the show. It just holds a very dear place in my heart. So thank you for suffering through an excellent episode of TV that definitely has stakes.
You're welcome.
And also, let's do this again.
I want to come back to Transformers. You already said that, Ben, but I was thinking like maybe we could do the movie too. That it'd be maybe a two-part podcast because it's so long. But yeah, I think we should go back to the movie.
A very special episode.
That might be a very special, 4 episodes for the amount of clipping and jiffing I would have to do. So I'm not against that.
Okay.
But Transformers, it's not goodbye. It's just goodbye for now. That's a quote from the movie. No, it's not. I just made it up. It could have been, though. So you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Jiffy at WatchBotsPod. Please subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Spotify, or your platform of choice. For Dave and Shaylin, this is Ben. Thanks for listening to another episode of WatchBots. And until next week, suffer my wrath, monster. Bye.